Welcome to Agora by Give Something Back to Berlin. In this podcast series, we'll be finding out how migration has changed our urban landscape and exchange ideas with those who are making a difference. Join us while we tackle issues ranging from human rights and diversity to migrant identity and belonging. Hello and welcome to Agora. I'm Gabby D'Annunzio, your host, and I'm joined by Fade Abdelnour today, who is the co-founder of Khan Aljanub. Welcome, Fadi. So can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what brought you to Berlin?
I grew up in Ramallah in Palestine. I went to school there, went to university, but then I decided to come to Berlin to study design. Something like 18 years ago. So I enjoyed Berlin for a while back then. I ended up studying design in a small town to the south called Halle, but eventually I came back to Berlin.
And what a great city. So we're currently in the heart of Berlin on Postdamer Street. You would never imagined to find such a beautiful bookshop hidden away in this cozy oasis. How did you find the space? And can you tell us the story behind the building?
The building was in the 80s a motorbike workshop for a while, and then it became residential. I had at one point after I finished studies my studio in Prenzlauer Berg, and I knew the guy who lived here. He got a son. Eventually he moved to Prenzlauer Berg. In the backyard, in the back building where my studio was, and he was looking for a Nachmieter. So I took a look at the place with the garden, with the trees, the fig trees he have planted, and the grape trees. So I fell in love with the place. I decided to rent it. My studio was here for a long time, and also was used as a co-working space for other projects as well, which I was involved in.
And since moving to Berlin, you've been immersed in the cultural sector with design and Arabic film. How did you get involved in the literature scene, and what motivated you to start selling Arabic books?
Actually, I had this special relationship to a book. As a designer, one of my most the tasks that I enjoy doing are doing books. You'll end up in the product, which is this object in your hand. And also I read a lot of literature. And since I moved to Berlin, actually, I found it very hard to get Arabic books in Berlin. So every time I'll go home or friends would be or visiting any other city, so I'll get up getting books to Berlin. So at one point, this demand got really big from my side as well. I got a daughter in which also I was interested to introduce Arabic books for her. So this idea came actually right here in the garden. I was chatting with a friend, and we were like, actually we need an Arabic bookshop in Berlin, and we're like, okay, let's open one. Then we started checking what is the demand there, what kind of books that people really want. We had a couple of pop-up stores. Eventually, the reaction was really good. The people were interested. We were satisfied, and we decided to open the bookshop.
And the bookshop's called Khan Aljanub. How did you come up with the name, and what does it mean?
Khan is an old Persian word which is used in Arabic. Actually, originally it means an inn. These inns were usually used by caravan travelers, so they have their animals staying downstairs and the sleeping rooms upstairs. And eventually a lot of streets or neighborhoods or markets got to be called Khan because there was a Khan in that area, like Khan Khalili in Cairo and other places. So the word Khan means inn originally, but also market as well. Janub means south. Our original plan was, or our long-term aim is not only to have Arabic books, but also have books from the global south, which is also hard to get in Berlin. Yes, and we looked for a long time for a name which has south in it, and then Khan Market became the good choice, so we ended up calling it in Arabic Market of the South.
It works perfectly. And what sort of books do you specialize in?
Mostly literature. We have a lot of literature, original literature written in Arabic, but also a lot of translated literature to Arabic. Internationally, and we have also non-fiction books around a lot of topics, especially culture and arts. But we have some magazines, we have a lot of comics, we have also a big selection of quality children books in Arabic, but also we have Arabic German books or sometimes Arabic English books, and we are building up on our selection in Arabic literature translated into English or German, as well as books that specialize in the region, German or English.
And so what sort of people, what's the demographic of people that come to your bookshop and interested in reading the books?
The demographics, it's the big question of Berlin. I mean, the demographics of like any other place in Berlin. You have young people interested in literature. In our case, they're mostly Arabs or Arabic readers, first or second generation, or sometimes third generation migrants. But we also have a lot of other nationalities or internationals who live in Berlin who's also interested. Either they know the language or they're interested in literature from the region. It's a mix.
And do you have like families that come here and bring their children and they can read their books here as well?
Yes. Yeah. Families are actually a big chunk of the parents could get something to read, the children would get something to read, they can play a bit here or outside.
It's a perfect space for it, yeah. Because there's also a little cozy space in the back for kids, right?
Yes.
So, and Berlin has, such a rich cultural landscape that's great for creative collaboration and cross-cultural dialogue. How has the influx of immigrants and refugees changed and influenced the Arabic literature scene?
Actually, much. In the last 5 years, we had a lot of people coming from Syria, fleeing the war, but also Berlin has become the best choice of city of exiles. A lot of people would name it, it's the capital of Arab exile. There's a lot of young people who would come to Berlin because the scene here, the situation in the city fits them as well. Some of them are or were in their original countries active politically, but also culturally and socially. We have, especially for our public, or the public we deal with, a good and rich mix-up of people who bring their expertise with them, bring their interest, and that is adding up to the cultural scene in the city. There's a lot of events, if it's music events or connected to theater, for example, literature as well, film, but also social events dealing with politics as well. And within this scene, such a scene needs a bookshop.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that adds up to also to this diversity, which makes Berlin nice as well, which makes Berlin this diverse city and have all of these rich scenes.
And the bookshop's a great place for those people to come and meet as well.
Of course.
Yeah. We have a signature question that we ask all our guests, and that is, what does giving back mean to you?
Giving back. I don't see it in this kind of equation, taking and giving, but Berlin is a welcoming city. So it is one of these places where people feel quickly at home. So if it's when it's so, it's also nice to contribute to the city. It's also nice to contribute to the city in a sense of shaping the city or make the city a better place, adding to the diversity, helping other people to feel at home because you contribute to things which people, especially people in exile, for example, miss in this exile experience. In that sense, I see this is also a kind of contribution to making this city more welcoming as well.
It is. It's a very welcoming city. I certainly found myself feeling at home from the very beginning. Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting us here, and we are very lucky to be able to be here today because this is one of Berlin's true treasures.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, if you want to find out more information about Give Something Back to Berlin and the bookshop, please check the description and we will add some links in there. And I hope you join us next time. Thank you.